What's something that's secretly been great about the pandemic? By Ask Reddit.
I got to spend a lot more time with aging pets. I had to put down a cat this fall, but for 7 months he got to lay on my keyboard and interrupt Zoom calls all day. I also have a 12-year-old lab, and spending this year with her all day every day has been awesome.
Save money on gas.
Not to mention wasting time just sitting in a traffic jam to get to a desk that I also happen to have in the office at home.
I don't miss the commute at all. Got back at least an hour a day because of this.
2x 50 minutes every day here, loving it. Home office equipment, and the coffee, is also way better than my actual office, so no regrets other than not meeting people I work with.
A lot of restaurants have really upped their online ordering and drive-through game. Like a well-oiled machine.
And some shockingly haven't. I got takeout from one of my favorite restaurants the other day, and it took so long to order on the phone, that next time I'm just going to go down there and place an order in person. I had to speak to 3 different people to accomplish it, being put on hold each time, and give my credit card over the phone. And before you ask, yes, they advertise takeout on their website and menu, so it isn't as if it's a service they don't normally provide.
The place I work is one of the places that hasn't, for sure. We used to have people up front with dedicated positions, taking orders, bagging to go, etc. But corporate panicked and are forcing managers to schedule less people, then add to that doing way more curbside and phone orders. There are just too many things to do and not enough people. During lunch there's a line of people. Phone rings, now you have to stop taking orders from them. Order comes up, you have to bag it. Phone rings during bagging, you have to answer it. Oh, it's someone curbside, so now you have to finish bagging the order you're already doing, find and take out the curbside order, then finally come back in to help the understandably unhappy guy that walked up to your register 4 minutes ago. Somehow saving a couple hours of labor is worth loads of unhappy customers and overworked employees though.
Not dealing with a commute.
I got 6 to 8 hours a week back in commuting time. That's, like, about a whole extra workday every week that's mine to do with as I please. It's been incredible, and I hadn't realized how stressed my commute makes me. I don't have to be careful not to forget anything before I leave for work, or when I'm leaving the office at the end of the day. I don't have to pack lunch, I don't have to make sure I'm dressed for the weather both now and in 8 hours when I'm coming home. I don't have to get wet when I get that wrong, and I don't have to spend a day at work with my shoes and socks wet, or all of me wet. I don't have to wait at a bus stop for 40 minutes waiting for a bus that should have been here 30 minutes ago.
No commute equals also getting stuck at work by 5 minutes. No longer means getting a train 30 minutes later. It actually means 5 minutes.
Also, getting good at writing well-formatted long posts. I like it. Slightly smiling face.
Not seeing your toxic coworkers.
Cries in hospital worker. The toxic ones became more insufferable since they are some of the only people I see now.
Ugh, for real. I'm so jealous of all the WFH people because working in a hospital has been awful the past year.
I started therapy last year because the stress surrounding everything and living alone haven't been a good mix. I started back in school last May, but other than stress, college in a pandemic has kind of been a boon for me. I am ready to graduate and GTFO of hospital work. I am over it.
If it wasn't for the pandemic, my dad would be dead right now. He likes to come over to our place while I'm at work and spend time with my dogs. My Papillon got away from him and wanted to play chase in our garage, which is basically a storage unit right now, and she was bobbing and weaving through boxes. When he caught her and took her inside, he noticed he was having a hard time catching his breath. My brother, who lives with me, offered to let him use his new oxygen meter, which he bought after he developed some temporary sleep apnea after he had COVID. The meter was frighteningly low, so he told our dad to go to the walk-in clinic. They told him as soon as he explained his oxygen level that he needed to go to the ER. He tests negative for COVID at the ER, but they found multiple blood clots in his lungs. They kept him a few days in the hospital, and he made a complete recovery with no permanent damage. I know my dad very well. Under normal circumstances, he would have gone home, tried to relax, gone to bed that night, and possibly never woken up the next morning. But COVID has us all on high alert, especially when it comes to breathing troubles. I never thought I'd be thankful for it. Also, after he got out of the hospital, he gave said Papillon an extra special doggy treat for saving his life.
Similarly, if not for remote doctors and virtual visits, I would have let a potentially bad infection fester. I was too embarrassed for years to see a practitioner in person, and while the infection was very recent, I was dreading an appointment. And then, like angels heralding on high, I got an email from my insurance about scheduling remote consultations. I've now talked to more doctors this year on my own than ever before, and even made some progress with a therapist.
That's such a sweet story, made all the better by your Papillon. They're the bestest.
Playing board games with my teenage kids. We got away from it as they got older. I still kick ass on Scrabble, but they smoke me on backgammon. Ticket to Ride is a blast. Yahtzee too. Edit. Well, this certainly resonated with the community. To answer a few questions, we don't play every night. A couple of times a week is where we're at now. We have more modern games, but backgammon and Yahtzee, especially Yahtzee, is the one they like to play the most. Monopoly, when played without house rules, is fun. It probably won't last when things go back to normal, so I'm loving it while it lasts. Thanks for the awards.
I have 2 teens, and a spouse. We really enjoy spoons and bullpoo. Easy, fast-paced card games. We also play blackjack as a family. We have a whole set of cards and chips. We keep a running tally of our chips on paper. My husband gets so mad because our daughter plays her gut and he plays by the rules. And she is like a fake billionaire now, and he's always panhandling for fake money to get him back in the game. It's a riot. Our son is always the dealer. Our casino is named after him, and it's a good exercise in social skills and self-control.
My kids are younger, 8 and 5, but we have been playing a ton of checkers, beginner's chess, Uno, a few other little kid games, but the clear champ of the pandemic has been aggravation. We were introduced to it over the summer and have played it so many times. It's great because young kids can easily play, but you can also play it over drinks, in my case with my wife, her sister and sister's husband, they're in our pod. It's got just enough strategy to keep it interesting, and you can play while pretty drunk, believe me on that. But it's also easy to grasp for young kids and teaches them some basic strategy and counting. I've been recommending it to all our friends.
Cleaner beaches and ocean in Hawaii as millions of tourists stayed home. Of course the economy went to sh*t, but the Aloha Aina prospered.
And way less traffic on the morning commute on the H1.
I now permanently work from home, which is amazing.
Me prior to 2020, man, getting a job working from home would be amazing, but I don't even know where to start. Me getting moved to permanently work from home due to COVID. Oh okay, well that works I guess.
Pretty much any pre-2020 job listing that said work from home was guaranteed to be a scam. Now here we are, leaving the dream, in our sweatpants listening to music all day in our basements.
My employer is still kicking the can down the road of whether we'll have to come back to the office when is over. I've been WFH for a solid year. I'm not going back to an office. Any business that doesn't continue to embrace the new reality is going to have trouble.
If asked, propose it from a money-saving standpoint. Office has to provide space for X number of people and costs Y dollars. Current office has to provide space for 0 number of people and costs $0. How much does that add to the profit of the business not having to have office space, internet, electricity, etc.? Why as a company are you choosing to negatively impact the bottom line to get the same amount of work done? This limits the funds for raises and so many other things the company could do to benefit morale, which would further boost production. It is also saving employees money, so in a roundabout way they gave everyone a raise by having them work from home only to take it away for some outdated construct of real-life office space.
I have a few points. Your company is still responsible for you, notably for safety during the job. They will have to prove their efforts one way or the other in some time, so it's not that it is all for free now. I also feel the company should give you the required means to do your job. One of my colleagues doesn't have a desk at home. My supervisor didn't know what to do. For me, I would have bought the desk, or asked for it like months ago. We have desks in the office, IKEA stuff, so can be disassembled. If I were my boss, I would let that colleague pick up one of those for the time being. A client of mine lets their employees take home equipment like screens or chairs, if requested with a valid reason. That felt like a good and simple solution to me. I think offices will be smaller in the future and have a higher amount of meeting space than now compared to cubicle space, so to say, but we must not forget there are people that cannot work from home, due to technological limits like living outside the internet grid, or for personal issues.
I haven't had a cold all year.
Yeah, this past year has probably been the healthiest I've ever been. Haven't ever had anything more than a minor headache, and that's usually just due to dehydration or something mundane.
I started quarantine by becoming lactose intolerant for 6 months, you lucky bastard.
I've developed a nice solid set of GERD and lactose intolerance, so being able to stay near a toilet has been the best part for me.
I, GERD crew in Da House, I've had it all my life but realized during the pandemic that apparently not everyone constantly burps and almost throws up after eating, and the random coughing I do at times during the night isn't normal. I'm missing a tooth fairly close to the front of my mouth and I don't feel self-conscious smiling in public when I'm wearing a mask. It's a silly thing, but I kinda missed real smiles. Thanks for the awards, guys. My most liked commented comment is about my fed up teeth. That's something. Lol.
Same, I need dental work done, so being able to wear a mask in public is really a blessing.
I feel you. Almost all of my teeth are trashed from my various illnesses. I can't afford to fix my teeth and a mask makes me feel so much better.
Without a social life, I've been forced to focus on myself instead of other people, so I've cut down on my drinking, lost 35 pounds, and started seeing a therapist. Here's hoping I come out of this in better physical and mental shape than I went in.
Me too. I lost 17 pounds and I just was discharged from therapy because my depression is officially, clinically at a 0. Go us. Edit. Holy poo. Thanks for the awards, friends. To answer some questions. Weight loss. I initially did a wellness challenge called 75HARD, a 75-day challenge that requires 2 workouts per day and sticking to a diet of your choice, among several other daily tasks. That kicked my butt into gear and got me into the habit of regularly exercising and eating well, so I've lost a few more pounds since I completed it in September. This also helped my mental health a lot, but not completely. Mental health. I did acceptance and commitment therapy, which is a form of CBT that focuses on accepting your feelings and mindfully working through them, rather than avoiding them. My therapist had me fill out a questionnaire every time we met, and based on my answers, he was able to calculate numbers on a depression scale. I can't go into more detail about that, 'cause I don't know, but I started at a 42/100 and last week was at a 3/1 scale. And on another I started out at a 7/10 and last week was at a 0. So I'm clinically not depressed, I guess. Plus, the last several weeks I've come to him feeling great and having little to talk about, which meant it was time for me to be discharged. Why was I discharged? My therapist works out of a medical facility, rather than private practice, so they go based on a medical model. It's more of a, let's give our patients the tools they need to cope, and once they no longer need us, we'll let them go, so they can make room for more patients with acute needs, rather than a, we'll see patients as long as they pay us. I could have been referred to someone like that, but, like I said, I didn't have much to talk about by the end. What specifically helped me? Mindfulness exercises and writing down 5 good things about myself each day. My negative self-talk was the biggest factor in my depression. I don't do that anymore. I am a badass.
What the effing hell is clinically at 0? Who did you see and how did they do it? I feel cheated. My entire experience with 10+ years of therapy and probably 5 or 6 different therapists has been, still got depression, huh? Welp. See you next month.
Man, I feel totally the opposite. I've gained weight and feel totally anxious and depressed. I think I was before, but now feel like def am. Considering therapy but feel overwhelmed by the different options. Like there are so many different titles and qualifications and methods, and the insurance is even more confusing than finding a primary care. Which I also need to do.
I'm just a guy writing a comment on the internet, but do it as soon as possible. It's really not that hard once you start setting it up, and it's way easier right now than it might be later. If you'll get confused, tired, resigned during that, remember it's mostly caused by what condition you're in, and which is the reason you're doing this in the first place. It happens, like breaking a leg or catching a cold, and you need to fight it. The good part is that you can fight it just by meeting with someone who will show you how you fix it. Cognitive behavioral therapy will definitely be a good starting point and might actually be all you need. Don't focus too much on therapists' certifications, hobbies, look etc. Just look at their education. If possible, find a psychologist, not a therapist, although I know at least 2 great therapists. It's not very common, at least in my country. Good luck.
No pressure to go somewhere on my days off. I don't feel like I'm wasting time when I have days off and don't spend them traveling or seeing people. I love staying at home and just hanging with my 2 cats. Sweatpants on, messy bun, junk food and games. I'm content with that.
Yes. I think I have learned to accept my homebody nature instead of feeling like I should be going out and doing things. There's nothing wrong with making a home for yourself and then enjoying being there.
I agree. Your house is like all set up how you like it, has all your favorite things in it, ought to be climate controlled to your exact preferences. Is comfortable and has your family, pets in it. So on and so forth. My house is my favorite place. Just as it should be. Unless you're my ma'am who gets a bit nutty if she doesn't aimlessly wander outside each week.
My wife used to pressure me nearly every weekend to go do something outside the house. It's really nice to be able to relax at home, now, reliably. Edit, letter.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.